Hello everyone, my name is Shafaz Saeed and you are watching Tech Team. In the previous video we discussed about variables in Java. In this video we will discuss about functions in Java. So if we follow our project, we see main function as this project was we programmed in our last video, so you can clearly see that this is a function. So what it contains, we will not discuss about static for now, so I will discuss about the static and what is the difference between static and non-static in my upcoming videos. So for now we will not discuss static. So in the previous videos, if you remember, we did Java variables in Java. So if you remember, what was the syntax to define a variable? It was something type, name, and then value. For example, what was the type? Type can be int, can be string, and can be anything. And what was the name? Name was anything, like for example, like this one, A, B, AB. And value also depends on, it can be a string or it can be a number or integer. Similarly, the function has a syntax in Java. So what is the syntax of a function? To define a function is always public, then comes the type of variable, and then comes the name of the function, and then comes the brackets, open, bracket closed, and then comes the angle bracket, open, and then comes the angle bracket close, and within these angle brackets you give the implementation of a function. For example, like, okay, just follow the syntax public. So we say public, and the function always has a type int, or it can be string, or it can be boolean, or it can be character. So, or like in the main function, it has a void. Void means nothing, empty. The function will not return anything. This means function will return a value of integer or number. So the second syntax, public, string, the type of variable, then name of function, xyz. So name can be anything, like xyz. Over here I've defined abc, and over here xyz. So what does it mean? It means that this function will return something like string. And finally, we can define we can give another example, public boolean. So public boolean, it will return. So the function, what is the name of the function? tuck will return a value of boolean. So further, how does it return the value? It simply says return, because it is of type int, so it will return 5. Oh sorry, I'm missing this one. Okay, so return 5, return, so this is of type strings, so it will return something string. So how do we define a string? In in the quotes, in the double quotes. So like this, hello. You can return anything, depends on your function needs, and over here you can return true or false. Okay, so we will make something, some function in the program. In the, okay, this is the existing program, so we will make the function. We will keep the syntax of this function, and we will make our new function public. Okay, so we say something. We will first define a function with no, that returns nothing. So these are the comments are always defined. We define the comments. Whatever is written with the two forward bracket forward slashes, the compiler ignores these. So it's not understandable by the compiler. So you can, just for your reading, you can write something like, we can write something like this. So these are called comments. So normally we write comments like these, and there are other ways to, like for example over here, if you see, this is also a comment. This is another way of giving the comments, just for the for your understanding. In other words, we say we document the function with these comments, so that the non-programmers can read it and understand what the function is doing. So okay, so we will do function that returns nothing. So nothing is always has a type of void, and then comes the name of the function. What do we say? Let's define some reasonable name of function. Do nothing. So then comes the angle bracket open, angle bracket closed, and over here, as I told you, that inside is an implementation. So what is an implementation? So this is all the implementation we did. See, so we can do something similar, like do nothing. It will do nothing, it will just print out something. Okay, this is it, and then the end. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we have defined one function. Now the function that returns a number, we will define one function that returns a number. So if we see our tutorial, how do we, so it says public int abc return 5. So it is int and it is returning 5. Get number. So we say something like, we can also say the name of the function, can we give some readable name or understandable name. So get number, angle bracket open, angle bracket. So when you press enter in Netbeans, it will automatically like for example, if you see like this, you give the angle bracket open and then you press enter, automatically there will be a close brackets. Okay, so see, you can, if you see here, the compiler is Java compiler is giving a red line. What is saying? Missing return statement. So because you said that, okay, if you do something like this, then the compiler will not give any error, because it's understanding that this is returning nothing. So if you do something like this, now it says, what it says, missing return statement. So you have to give the return statement, return 50, 60, whatever. So okay, so now we move on to how to call a function inside other functions. So that, okay, so what is the purpose of this function? Actually, the main purpose of a function is something like, for example, like if you give everything inside this function, and there are more things to do in a program. So if you write more lines, many lines, so it will grow to a big program. So you will be doing everything in the one function, and so it will be difficult for you to understand also, and it becomes quite messy. So the best thing is always use the function to do some task. Like for example, what we are doing here is printing something, so we can write a print statement function and we can move all these to a function that will print something like this. And also whatever, for example, like over here you are adding the strings, so you can define a function for this which will always concatenate the string and return the value to you. Okay, so I will not go into the more of the theoretical details, so it becomes difficult for the beginners to grasp the concept. So okay, so what we're gonna do is something like, okay, so we have written some function. Okay, so inside the main method, how to call the function? We can call other function by its name. So what is the name of this function? Do nothing. So we simply say like this, and so when the okay, so it's saying non-static. So because we are not using, we have to write static with all the functions, because it's saying something, because this is a static method. So inside the static method you have to define other method as static. So for now we will write the static method, static with all the method, but I will explain you in my next video between static and why we use static and what is the need of static. So for now just think that this is needed for now. Okay, for do nothing. And second, so what this, okay, we have called this function do nothing. So when the program will run in the main, it says do nothing, so it will jump here and it will print this thing. And now how to call the second function? We can say get number, okay. So see, we said something like get number, so it is actually returning something. So okay, this will print because this is void. So you can say something like just you don't need any thing with this. You can just call this function. With this function you are saying get number, so it is sort of returning you something, but to return something you need to catch it. So what it is returning? It is returning integer, so there should be an integer to catch this number. So int abc is equal to get number. So what is now, what will happen is that get number will return 50 and it will be assigned to abc. So over here we can say now system dot out dot println abc. So this will now when this program will run, when this main method will run, what it will do, it will call do nothing. So what will do nothing do? It will print do nothing. Then in the second line you are saying int abc, because it is returning, so this is the catcher. You can see a variable which catches get number, and abc will have 50. So when you say system.out.println abc, so it will print 50. Okay, we run this program and see the output. Okay, right click and run. So it should print do nothing and 50. Okay, so function with parameters. So sometimes, like for example, this is the function. Okay, now we will get into little bit more details about okay, we will keep this function. Now we will remove this function because it's just returning get number, so it's not doing. So we will define a new function. So something like function that add two numbers. Okay, we will say public. For now we will use static, and so it's adding two numbers, so it will return the addition of two numbers. And what should be the function name? We say add numbers. Which number? Number int a comma int b, and then curly braces, open, press enter, and you will see this one. So what would say? We can simply say this because it's add two numbers. So how do we add two number? Because this need to return something, so we can simply say return a plus b. End of. So we actually end all the statements with this sign. So whatever the line, so we end the line whenever we write one line, we end the statement with this symbol. Okay, so function that add two numbers. So simply you can return a plus b. So now what we need to do inside the main function, we need to call this add number. How do we call it? Add number. What number add? So it is taking two parameters of type integer, so we should give some integer values. And end. So but it is returning something. It is because it has a return type of int, so they need to be, you need to define one catcher of type int x y z. We can say any, because this is the variable name is equal to this. So this is the function name, this is the parameters, because 5 and 8. So if you say something, if you are trying to give something like age, so it will give an error because it's saying add number does not take string. So it takes two parameters of type int and int. So you can see the red line over here, it's giving an error, so it should be something like this. So when you print the statement system.out.println, so what do you think, what should be the what should be printed in XYZ? So let's see. So I think it should print, because you are saying add number 6 and 8, 6 and 8 will come here, and then because it's using the plus sign, 6 plus 8, so when it says return, so it will already be added and it will return 14. So over here 14 should be printed. So let's run and see what the output is. Right click it and run. Clearly you see, because it is calling this main function is calling do nothing, then it is saying add number, and it takes 6 and 8 and it's returning it because this is the catcher of, because this function returns something, so over here it will catch and over here it will print. So it's not something like two numbers. For example, it can have as many parameters as you define. Okay, but what it is saying, like we have called the number add number, so why it is giving a red line? Because it's saying method add number in class this cannot be applied to given type, because it's saying that int comma int comma int is saying it is taking 3 parameters, but I have used only 2. That's why it's, so the red line, the error is saying that it is taking 3 parameters. We have defined a function with 3 parameters here, but we are calling it with 2 parameters, so we need to define another one like this. And we can say over here return type a plus b and plus c. So what will be returned when we say int xyz? So it's already catching when we print this, so it will the output would be 6 plus 8 plus 10. 6 plus 8 plus 10, it comes here 6 over in this, 8 in this, and 10 in this, and when they are added 6 plus 8 plus 10, so it's 24. So it would return 24 to xyz, and when we say print, so it should print 24. Okay, we save the program and right click and run it. So it's saying do nothing and 24. Okay, that's fine, that's good. So it's not that we have to always use a plus sign. This is actually your implementation. You can do whatever the requirement is, and you implement it accordingly. Okay, for example, you just think like your requirement is something like to add 2 numbers but minus the third number. So can you think of how will you implement it, that add 2 numbers and minus the third number? So you will use a plus b minus c minus the third number. So what would be there? 6 So 6 will come in A, 8 will come in B, 10 will come in C. So A is 6, B is 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 minus C is 10. 14 minus 10 would be 4. So this would 4 would be returned to this, and when it outprints, so it should outprint 4. So let's run it. Okay, that's great. Okay, that's nice. So similarly we can write as many function and with different, like we can add numbers, and you can write more functions, like function that add two numbers, function that multiplies two number, function that divides two number, and also you can define a new function that takes string other than integer, like for example so that takes strings. So string always returns string, not always but mostly it returns string. We use some we say concat string. Concat is something like join string. Concat string A comma string B, and then curly braces, and what would say return A, like we used concat A plus B. So how do we call this? By this name. And what parameters it is taking? It is taking string, so it should be like this one. Hello, we would give some space, comma, world. So, and what should be the out? Okay, but it's returning some. Okay, this is calling this one. So because it is returning strings, so we need to define a catcher. Catcher should all, because it's string, so this should be of type string. Okay, so now can you guess what would be printed in ZBC? Just oh yeah, I'm missing S. So okay, so you are saying hello space. Hello will go to this one, world will go to this one, so it's saying return hello plus world, so it will combine and it would print hello space world. So let's see. Okay, it's saying do nothing. 4 is because of this one, and hello space world, it's saying hello world. So this is all for now, and you can write as many function, practice it, and if you want any help, just leave the comments. I will try my best to answer your queries. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel and press the bell icon, so you can always get the upcoming videos, and you can get the notification